morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching Janata Television and this is the English Bulletin with me, Sushant Akal. The top stories first. PM Oli holds a discussion with Dahal NCP leaders agree to call Secretariat meeting for 3 p.m. today. 2 persons test positive for coronavirus. Total number of cases reach 54 in Nepal. Government ensures strict implementation of lockdown. Home Ministry bans vehicular movement without permission. Coronavirus cases in India climb to nearly 30,000. Pakistan mosques are growing worry. And French Ligue 1 season suspended completely. LFP to decide on the modality of the suspension. And now the news in detail. The ruling Nepal Communist Party has called its Secretariat meeting for 3 p.m. today. The meeting was finalized after discussion between the party's chairman duo of KP Sharma Ori and Pushpa Kamal Dahal yesterday. Party leaders had been demanding the Secretariat meeting in the recent days to sort out some contentious issues. The leaders are divided over the working style of the government, especially after it issued 2 controversial ordinances last week without consulting with the party first. The ordinances were, however, scrapped after widespread criticism from all quarters. To resolve the differences, Oli and Dahal met at the Prime Minister's residence yesterday and decided to call the Secretariat meeting. The 2 influential leaders held discussions for almost 2 hours to settle the issue. During yesterday's meeting, Dahal said that the party must call Secretariat and Central Committee meetings to sort out the differences. However, Oli was of the view that the differences could be sorted out amongst the 2 leaders. 2 more persons have tested positive for COVID-19 in the country, taking the total number of infection to 54. 2 men kept at a quarantine facility in Rohtahar tested positive for the disease, according to the Ministry of Health and Population. Spokesperson at the ministry, Dr. Vikas Devkota, confirmed the 2 new cases, adding that the 2 men were 24 and 35-year-old respectively. Their swab samples were tested at Teku-based national laboratory. The duo had returned from India. Most of the infected persons in Nepal are found to have entered the country either from India or third countries. The total number of coronavirus infected persons in Nepal has reached 54. Out of them, 31 are undergoing treatment at Koshi Provincial Hospital in Biratnagar. Likewise, 3 are undergoing treatment at Birganj, 3 in Chitwan and 1 in Dhangari. So far, 16 infected have fully recovered and returned home.
हालसम्म जम्मा परीक्षणको संख्या 54,826 पुगेको छ, जसमध्ये 10,807 वटा पीसीआर विधिबाट गरिएका नमुना परीक्षण छन् भने आरडीटी विधिबाट गरिएका नमुना परीक्षणहरू 44,019 छन्। गत 24 घण्टामा नयाँ 1,193 वटा थप परीक्षण भएका छन्।
The government has tested 54,826 samples for coronavirus so far. Among them, 10,807 tests were carried out by PCR method, while the remaining 44,019 were done through RDT method.
आज रौतहट जिल्लाका 24 वर्षीय र 35 वर्षीय 2 पुरुषहरूको स्वाब नमुना परीक्षण राष्ट्रिय जनस्वास्थ्य प्रयोगशालामा गर्दा पोजिटिभ आएको छ। उहाँहरू भारतबाट नेपाल आउनु भएको र क्वारेन्टाइनमा बस्नु भएको थियो। उहाँहरूलाई अस्पताल लगिदैछ।
The ministry informed that altogether 22,099 persons are currently kept under quarantine across the country. Security forces have intensified checking at different junctions after the Ministry of Home Affairs instructed the police administration to tighten the movement of people during lockdown. The Home Ministry has directed its subordinate bodies to ensure effective implementation of the lockdown against the coronavirus pandemic that has infected more than 3 million people across the globe. Issuing a circular to all district administration offices recently, the ministry had asked them to ban the movement of vehicles without permission. Some days ago, the government had unofficially relaxed the movement of vehicles during the evening time to help rescue the stranded people. However, the ministry said that since most of the stranded people have already reached their destinations, the lockdown will be implemented strictly from now onwards. The ministry took such decision considering the increased risk of COVID-19 infection while traveling in crowded vehicles. The Council of Ministers had decided on Sunday to extend the lockdown until midnight of May 7th, while the international borders will be closed till May the 13th. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back after the break. We continue with other national news. The main opposition party, Nepali Congress, has held discussions with former finance ministers and experts, including economists, yesterday. The Nepali Congress organized the discussion to prepare a roadmap for the country's economic recovery after the coronavirus pandemic fades out. NC spokesperson Biswa Prakash Sharma said the discussions primarily focused on the potential effects of coronavirus on tourism, the decline in the revenue collection from agriculture and industrial sectors, among others. Similarly, discussions were also held on potential effects of Nepali migrant workers losing their jobs in the host countries, which would directly affect the remittance inflow to Nepal.
कोरोनाको सन्तास सकिएपछि नेपाल देशले नेपालको अर्थतन्त्रले भोग्नुपर्ने गम्भीर चित्र के हुन सक्दछन् त्यसको पूर्वानुमान एउटा जिम्मेवार राजनीतिक दलका रूपमा नेपाली कांग्रेस पार्टीले कोरोना पछिको इकोनोमीको बारेमा अहिले नै विमर्श सुरु गरेको छ। बाह्य थुप्रै देशहरूमा नेपालीहरूले रोजगारी गुमाउँदै गर्दा त्यसले नेपालको रेमिटेन्समा पर्ने प्रभाव, कृषि क्षेत्रको उत्पादन, औद्योगिक क्षेत्रको उत्पादनमा आउने कमीको कारण त्यसले पर्ने असर, यी समग्र विषयमा आज अर्थशास्त्रीहरूबाट गम्भीर विमर्श भइरहेको छ।
Further discussions were also held about the relief announced by the government and its practical impacts on the affected people. The Nepali Congress has also called for Central Working Committee's meeting for tomorrow. The Rato Machindranath Jatra, a popular chariot procession in the Kathmandu Valley, will begin this year after the lockdown comes to an end. Cultural experts opine that the chariot procession that has been around since the reign of ancient Lichavi king Narendra Dev cannot be cancelled because of any calamity. They said that the chariot procession is held according to the lunar calendar and hence the dates can be changed. Rato Machindranath has been known as Bungadaya, as history suggests the deity arrived from India's Kamaksha Kamarupa to Bungmati of Patan during King Narendra Dev's reign. Rato Machindranath Jatra is worshipped as the god of rain and good harvest.
एक हप्ता दुई हप्तामा सक्ने जात्रा होइन यो। हाम्रो जात्रा भनेको 5 महिना 6 महिना पनि लाग्न सक्छ यो। किनभने हामीले रथमा राखेर ढल्यो भने त्यो फेरि बनाएर फेरि हालेर हाम्रो इतिहासमा के छ भने 36 सालमा पनि मेरो आफ्नै बाको पालो 3 चोटी रथ ढले थियो, 3 चोटी बनाएर लगेको थियो। त्यही कारणले चाहिँ यो हाम्रो ढिला हुन्छ, जात्रा चाहिँ हुन्छ यो।
The idol of Lord Machindranath has been brought to Machindra Bahal in Patan from Lalitpur's Bugmati for the chariot procession. The locals have prepared all materials for building the chariot. However, the chariot procession has been postponed for now to abide by the lockdown orders and not to risk the safety of the locals. There is a popular belief that postponing the procession would bring bad luck to the nation, but nothing such has happened so far, according to astrologers.
यो जीवनमा सायद मचिन्द्रनाथ आएको चाहिँ यो आएपछि यो पहिलो घटना हो। अब मान्छेहरूले तरको कुरा काट्छन्, मेरो विचारमा केही पनि हुँदैन। अब लकडाउन सकेपछि त्यो विचार गरेर के गर्न सकिन्छ छलफल गरेर अगाडि भर्नु पराउने हो कि के गर्ने हो त्यो गर्नुपर्छ अनि के भने दसैँको ताकाभित्र त मसिनघाट उता बुङ्गुमती पठाउनु अनिवार्य नै छ
After worshipping the god of rain and good harvest, the chariot has to be returned back to the temple in Bungmati as soon as the festival is over. The idol should be back at the temple before Ghatasthapana, the first day of Dasai festival. And now the news from the economic front. The European Union is set to provide an aid package of rupees 9.8 billion to Nepal to tackle the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic and mitigate its impact. According to the national news agency RSS, the support includes redirected existing commitments with new funds. The EU said in a statement that the government of Nepal would get direct and swift access to this financing. The EU's support will be basically focused on two areas. Firstly, it will be assisting the authorities in Nepal to respond to the immediate health crisis, and secondly, it will boost the country's economic response and recovery. The EU will be providing rupees 1.6 billion to support the government's health and preparedness plan. Likewise, rupees 8.2 billion will be provided to support the government's response to the social and economic consequences of the pandemic. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news. Welcome back, and now the international news. Coronavirus infection in India reached almost 30,000 yesterday. Only Iran and China have recorded more cases of coronavirus than India in Asia. A steady rise in infection would make it difficult for the second most populous country to lift a nearly 6-week lockdown that ends this weekend, Reuters reported. According to the news agency, neighboring Pakistan also recorded a jump in cases and the deaths from COVID-19. There were concerns in Pakistan that many people were gathering in mosques for Ramadan prayers despite strict rules on distancing. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has reportedly allowed some farm and industrial activity to resume in less affected rural areas. The decision comes after the shutdown of the economy left millions without work and short of food and shelter. But with about 1,500 new cases each day on an average over the past week, the government is facing calls not to ease the lockdown. According to Reuters, the Indian government has been urged to keep the world's biggest shutdown in force beyond May 3rd, even though the economic distress is deepening. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. The French Ligue 1 and Ligue 2 seasons have been suspended after France banned all sporting events, including any behind closed doors, until September. Prime Minister Edouard Philippe said the 2019-2020 sporting season was over as he announced plans to ease France's coronavirus lockdown on 11th May. French football's governing body had hoped to resume the season on 17th June and finish the campaign on 25th July after the initial suspension from 13 March. However, this new development, the current season will no longer be resumed. It is not yet known whether Ligue de Football Professionnel LFP will choose to abandon the season with no promotion or relegation and no champions, or base the outcome of the campaign on current standings. Defending champion PSG are 12 points clear of Marseille at the top of Ligue 1 with 10 rounds of matches and one outstanding fixture left to be played. Toulouse are bottom of the table and 17 points from safety. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin, and the headlines once again. PM Oli holds a discussion with Dahal. NCP leaders agree to call secretariat meeting for 3 p.m. today. 2 persons test positive for coronavirus. Total number of cases reach 54 in Nepal. government ensures strict implementation of lockdown. Home Ministry bans vehicular movement without permission. Coronavirus cases in India climb to nearly 30,000. Pakistan mosques a growing worry. And Friends League all season suspended completely. LFP to decide on the modality of the suspension. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website JanataSamachar.com. We urge all our viewers to follow government directives of the lockdown and follow healthy hygienic practices to keep safe from any infection. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.